So whenever you are doing any kind of wound, you first need to research the type of wound you're going to do, right? Going by your script analysis and all of that, you're going to choose, is it an impact wound like bruising? Is it a penetrating trauma like a stab or something like that? Is it an abrasion, which is more of a cut or a scrape? What exactly is it that you're doing? You will do your research accordingly, using your morgue that you've cultivated and all of that. And then you need to think about biology and anatomy, right? How the body works. This is where things like cultivating your picture morgues and that kind of thing are really important. If you guys have questions about what a morgue is or anything like that, comment below or email me, whatever, I can explain it to you. But you want to look back at those photographs of how things occur organically and naturally so that you can recreate it. Because nothing will kill the look faster than it just not making anatomical sense. So make sure you think about those things as you go forward with your makeup look. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a split lip. That's a fairly common one. You get a slap or a punch. Your character does a slap or a punch to the face. So a bruised split lip is a really good one. And I'm going to do it just with makeup without any three-dimensional work, so you can kind of get an idea of what that looks like. So anytime you're doing bruising, you want to work from your lightest color to the darkest. Again, going with anatomy, going with how the body works. When there is a trauma, the white blood cells are sent there to try to start fixing it. And that's why you have all the different color changes in bruises, right? Because the things that are further away from the point of impact or bruises that have been healing for a few days will be lighter because those white blood cells are helping to repair the damage. So always start with the lightest color and work your way to the darkest. So that means starting with yellow for me. I'm going to say I was hit just sort of in this general area. I like using a stipple sponge for bruising, right? You have one in your kit. It's just really helpful in that it gives you an automatic texture that looks really good because it automatically looks like broken up capillaries just because of the way it's made. If you don't have a stipple sponge and you're wanting to kind of go for that, if you will take just like a cheap regular white sponge and tear it, it will give you, you can see that it has sort of ridges that occur. That's a really quick way to sort of mimic it if you don't have a stipple sponge. But I do, so that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm going to start with yellow. And I'm just gonna kind of stipple it on. Just to get a nice base. The next up will be the green. And as you move, you need to think of it as kind of like a bullseye, right? Where the center, the actual point of most impact is going to be the darkest, and then everything goes out from there. What you don't want to do is have perfect circles though, because that does not look organic. So you want to layer. So I'll come in with my green and I'll start layering almost to the outside. Not quite. I'm not going to quite cover all of that yellow, just most of it. Right? Then I will come in with a little bit of the red. And you'll see I'm going to start really honing in on the point of impact. Then purple. And the great thing about this wheel is that it does go in a circle. So you just start with the lightest and go in a circle. then the darker purple, then blue. So you can see as I get very close, you can see the definite sort of point of impact, right here. And then as it goes out, it sort of, see, I've got it all over my fingers. It sort of just looks sort of broken up, right? And you can also see, I'm sorry we're getting so close, but it just has to be that way. You can also see how it does look organically broken, right? It doesn't look like it's one solid color. They all meld together with that stippling to really look broken, right? So the next thing I want to do is create the look of sort of a split lip, right? So I'm gonna come in with my clown white. And I'm gonna say that I have a split lip right here. And oh gosh, we'll just say the top was split a little bit as well. Yeah. So really get where that split's gonna be. And what you're gonna do is go back to that dry brush technique, or not, right? Where you just touch it and then pull it out with a dry brush. So pulling it away from the epicenter with that dry brush technique. And you can see that when I move away from the camera, that sort of makes that look a little puffy, right? Like it's swollen up around a broken piece of skin. Then you can come in again with your bruise wheel with this red mixed in, like take the red, right, and mix it with the blue so that you get that really deep wounded purple. And then you're going to recreate the epicenter of the point of impact. So that now you have a three-dimensional split with your swelling. And if you need to, you can always go back in with that clown white and touch it up. And then if you're feeling very, very saucy, you can come in with just a little bit of fake blood. Be very careful if you're using the Ben Nye blood. Do not get it in your mouth. I will be uploading soon some edible blood recipes that you can use if you want to actually get it in your mouth, but be very careful with the stuff that is not edible. So there is an open wound and bruising with some swelling that is done completely two-dimensional just with shading. So now, in addition to that, even though I know it's going to be a little bit distracting watching me talk with this, I think we can get through it. I'd like to show you how to do some bruising and some wounding and make it actually three-dimensional. So using your nose and scar wax, right? You are also going to need your spirit gum. That was something I forgot to mention earlier, right? Your spirit gum comes in this little tube with this little thing. Stinks terribly, is incredibly uncomfortable, but you know what? Sometimes we have to suffer for our art. That's just the way it is. So first things first, I like to do my bruising before I add 3-dimension. That's just me. You can do the 3-dimension first if you would like, and then paint on top of it. It's entirely up to you. I just prefer to get the base down and then add the 3-dimension on top of it and finish up the paint job. That's just how I work. You do you. But let's get started. So what I'm going to do to show you this is do a broken nose. And so I've decided, since I have a nice busted lip on this side, I'm going to have a broken nose up here. Again, do your research, see what broken noses look like, right? How they bruise. A lot of bruising will go into the eye, strangely enough, because it's where the bone stops, right? And the cartilage stops, so it kind of pools right there. So that's going to be sort of where I really do a lot of the shading. So as usual, I'll start light and then go darker. Be very careful anytime you're working around your eyes. Remember that, especially with the color red. So that's a nice, good shiner we've got going there. So this is what happens when you work with nose and scar wax, okay? It is actually really sort of hard when it's in its packaging. So the first thing you have to do is kind of soften it up, which means you have to dip it out using, a knife or, my very technical end of a paintbrush. And you'll feel it kind of like, it's real sticky, right? And that's fine, but what you need to do is roll it around in your fingers to get it sort of pliable. If it is sticking to your fingers too much, you can get a petroleum-based jelly like Vaseline or something like that, and put it just a little bit on your fingers to help it move around. And you are going to need that Vaseline in just a minute, so don't let it go. So while you are getting it nice and pliable, you need to come in with your spirit gum and lay your spirit gum down wherever it is you're going to be putting your nose and scar wax. Be very careful again around your eye, because this stuff will make your eyelashes stick together. Get it nice and pliable. You're going to want your spirit gum to dry just a little bit and get tacky. You can either, dry it with a fan, dry it with a hair dryer on cool, or you can just come in and like gently tap it, and you can see how it starts pulling at my skin, right? That means it's getting there. So by tapping it ever so gently, that just kind of incorporates some air and gets it nice and sticky. I'm going to add just a wee bit more. Get it nice and tacky. Then you come in with your nose and scar wax and just lay it where you want it. Again, always thinking about the anatomy, what it looks like, right? I've decided I want my nose to kind of crook off to one side. So that's why I'm doing it like this. Once you get it on there where it's not going to move, then you come in with your Vaseline, petroleum jelly, what have you, just a very tiny bit. And that's what you use to smooth it out and to smooth down the edges. Now you can see that it is blending over my makeup, and that's okay, because I will go back over and blend it all back in together. I just like doing the bulk of my bruising first. But again, you do you. You just want to make sure that you are using your Vaseline to really even out these seams, because nothing will ruin a makeup faster than being like, oh, I can see where there's a space between the makeup, the three-dimensional makeup, and your actual skin. It looks ridiculous. Then, once you have it the way you want it, you've got the shape that you want, then you can go back and finish off your colors, or do your bruising if you have not already. And once you have it the way you want it, then you can go in and add those few little like touches that kind of really sell it, such as adding some blood, right? Because you've got it sort of built up, right, with this three-dimensional work. So you can go in and physically create indentions so that you have actual open wounds, right? That you can then come in with some of your blood. Again, we're thinking about how anatomy and things like that work, right? And because I got hit in the nose, I probably have some blood dripping out of my nose. So I'll come in. Right, and then I can, do things that really sell it, like wipe the blood away, right?